Good evening, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we finished with that chapter, right? Any sum in that chapter or in the problem set which you couldn't do and you want me to solve it?
I understood.
All right. The problem set, did you finish the remaining part of the remaining sums of the problem set? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we'll start a new. Okay. Before starting, tell me what is going on in the school.
We had a holiday today, so it was same as that day when I told you.
So
like
that was
algebra, we started real numbers, and
first
geometry finished the first chapter.
Finished the first chapter. Okay. So we finished in algebra, we finished 2 chapters, that is sets and real numbers, and then geometry just 1. So we will do the second chapter of geometry, that is parallel lines we'll do. Have they told you in geometry what they will be doing next? What is there for the unit test? Anything is told in the school?
No, sir, but they have decided the when the unit test will be. They are not even posted yet.
Okay. When is the unit test?
6th August.
6th August.
6th August.
6th August. Okay. So when they tell you the syllabus, the portion, let me know. Okay. We'll start with the second chapter, parallel lines. So the very basic definition will start, and that is a definition of parallel lines. Okay. Can you read this definition for me? Definition of parallel lines.
The lines which are coplanar and do not intersect each other are called parallel lines.
Yes, the lines which are coplanar and do not intersect each other. Now first understand the meaning of the word coplanar. What is meaning of, do you know what is the meaning of the word coplanar? No? Okay, divide the word. Okay, separate the word. It is co and planar. Now planar comes from the word plane. Okay, planar comes from the word plane. Now, do you know what is a plane?
Yes, sir. A flat.
Yes, a flat, a two-dimensional flat object is a plane. So for example, I can say this. This is a plane. Is it a plane? A flat object. Yes, it is a plane. So this square, is this square a plane? Yes, it is a plane because I'm saying it is a flat object. Now, coplanar means lying in the same plane. Okay, in the same plane. Now, for example, these are two different planes. This is one plane and this is a second plane. So if I draw a line in this plane and if I draw a line in this plane, these will not be coplanar because they are in two different planes. But if I draw two lines in the same plane, okay, anyhow, if I do, so if I draw two lines inside the same plane, then that will be called as coplanar. Is the word coplanar clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, definition of parallel line says that the lines which are coplanar, that means they lie in the same plane and they do not intersect. Okay, this you might be knowing, definition of parallel lines, that lines which do not intersect are parallel lines. But the main point you have to keep in mind that they should be coplanar. That means those lines should lie in the same plane. Is this fine?
Yes.
Now let us revise the concepts that you must have studied in 8th standard, and that is transversal. Do you remember anything about transversal? What is a transversal?
So two lines which intersect each other.
Two lines which intersect each other. Okay, two lines which intersect each other are called intersecting lines. So for example, this is one line, this is one line. They are intersecting each other. So this is a intersecting lines. So what you said, you gave me the definition of intersecting line. Okay, correct. I asked what is a transversal. Okay, I'll tell you I'll make you recollect the concept. If you have, okay, don't look at this figure. If you have two lines, okay, anyhow, not necessary parallel, they can be non-parallel also. Okay, you have, I'll name this line L. I'll name this line L and I'll name this line M. Okay, now two lines, not necessary parallel. They can be non-parallel also. I'll put arrows. Now, if another line L, okay, sorry, I'll call this P, suppose. If another line P intersects your line L and M, okay, listen to the words that I'm saying carefully. If another line P intersects line L and line M in two distinct points. Okay, so what do you mean by distinct points? What do you mean by distinct?
Close to something.
No, that is that when we say distant neighbor, distant means something that is closer, but this is distinct. There's difference between the two, the meaning of the two words. The meaning of the two words are different, distinct and distinct. What you said was, you told me the meaning of the word distinct. I asked you meaning of the word, and the word which we are concerned with is distinct. D-I-N-C-T. Distinct. Distinct. Okay, both are different.
I know the words, but I just don't know the meanings. I've read it.
I've read it. Distinct. What you said for distant, that is correct. Distinct
So
means
distinct would be like he had a distinct smell on him.
yes, yes, distinct smell we are getting. That means we are getting some different smell. Different. Correct? So
Unique,
distant,
unique.
yes, unique. So distant means different. So two different point or two separate. Okay, different or separate, or also unique. You also can say unique. Two unique points. Okay, coming back to our definition. If this line P intersects your line L and line M into two different points, okay, two completely different points, then we call this line P to be transversal. Okay, then this line P is called as a transversal. So what is the definition of transversal? A line which intersects two other lines into two distinct points. Then that line is called as the transversal. Okay, now I'll do one figure and you just tell me whether that is a transversal or not. Is line P a transversal? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No. Why it is not a transversal?
Because the 2 points L and M, the two lines L and M intersect each other.
But if you look at this figure,
Yeah. Sir.
huh,
The line P intersects line LNN. LNN's connecting point. So
yes.
it does
So
not make.
yes, it is intersecting at only one point, not two distant points. That is why this is not a transversal. So you should just try to identify the difference between transversal and not transversal. So for it to be a transversal, compulsorily it has to intersect into two distant points of the two lines. Huh? If you see here, line L and M are not parallel. Okay, they are non-parallel line. But if you extend, suppose if you try to extend this, then it will intersect, right? Somewhere it will intersect if you extend it. Okay, I'll just keep extending it. So if you keep extending, it will intersect somewhere because they are non-parallel lines. So at this point, if you draw a line, then this will not be a transversal. Well, if I name this Q, this is not a transversal, but this is a transversal. Did you get the difference? Okay, coming back to the main topic. So you understood what is a transversal. Now we need to know what is, do you remember what are corresponding angles?
Are the alternate angles, opposite angles?
Alternate is different and opposite is different. Corresponding is different and opposite is different. So first we'll start with corresponding. Anything you remember about what is corresponding angle? Okay. First thing is this transversal. Because of this transversal, you have two sides and two directions. Now, just don't get confused when I say sides and direction. Now, when I say sides, it will be either left side, right side, up, basically left and right only. When I say side, left side and right side. And when I say direction, it can be either facing upwards or facing downwards. Okay, keep this in mind. When I say side, it means either left side or right side. When I say direction, it is either upwards or downwards. Okay. Now, corresponding angles are those angles which are on the same side and which are having the same direction. Okay, corresponding angles are the angles which are in the same side and same direction. Now look at the figure. This angle and this angle. First of all, are these two angles on the same side? Yes, both of them are on the left side. Are they in the same direction? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Both are facing upwards. Both are upwards. So these two angles will be called as the corresponding angles. Okay. Is there any more pair of corresponding angles in this?
Yes, sir. The same one, but in the right side.
Yes, this one. Are there more?
Yes, sir. And the same one in direction down.
Yeah, this one and this one.
Yes.
And this one and this one. So these are all corresponding angles. Okay, so we'll come back to this figure. Okay. So the angles are named here. This is angle D. This is angle D. This is D. This is A. This is B. This is C. This is H, E, F, and this is G. Okay, how many total angles are there in this figure? Total number of angles.
8.
8. Okay. Now just list out the pairs of corresponding angles. List them all.
Angle HD.
Angle
HB.
Angle H and angle D.
And D. And
These are, okay, this is one.
four.
Any other pair? All the pairs tell me. You're muted. Unmute, unmute.
Angle G and angle C.
Angle G and angle C, correct.
C.
Any
Angle
more?
F and angle B.
Angle F and which?
Angle B.
B, correct. They are also corresponding.
And angle E and angle D.
Angle E and angle A, correct. So these are all the pairs of corresponding angles in this particular figure. Fine. So now you understood what is corresponding. So let's understand what is alternate angles. Or before alternate angle, let us we'll do interior. What are interior angles? Interior. Do you remember anything about what are interior? Anything?
Yes, sir. Interior and exterior angles.
So what is interior? When I say interior angle, what comes to your mind? As the name suggests, interior means something that is inside or outside? Inside.
Inside.
Correct. Interior means that is inside.
Inside.
So an angle is said to be interior angle. Firstly, they have to be on the same side. Okay, same side. Okay, first thing you have to check, same side of the transversal. Second thing you have to check is it has to be between the two lines. Okay, that angle has to be between or inside. Okay, between or inside the two lines. Okay, so first thing to check, it has to be on the same side. Second thing, it has to be between or it has to be inside the two lines. So look at this figure here. This angle and this angle. Can you see the angles marked in green? Firstly, are those two on the same side?
Yes, sir.
Yes, both of them are on the same side. And both of them, are they between or inside the two lines?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So these will be interior angle. Can there be any more pair of interior angle?
Yes, sir. Same on the left side.
Yes. So this and this. Any more possibility of interior pair of interior angle?
No side.
No, that's it. Okay. So we can do the next part in this is, so here I'll write corresponding. These are all pairs of corresponding angles that we listed. Now in this same figure, list out possible all pairs of interior angles. Can you tell me? First pair. This is the... No, I could not hear you. Can you repeat? Angle?
Angle E and angle B.
Angle E and angle B. And second?
Angle H and angle C.
Angle H and angle G or C?
C. C.
C. Okay, these are the interior angles. Fine. Now let's understand alternate angles. And under alternate angles, we have alternate interior and alternate exterior.
So I can't see you.
Can you see now? No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. First, let's understand alternate angles and then we'll see interior and exterior. Okay, 1 minute. Huh? First, understand alternate angles. Now, for alternate angles, you remember the letter Z. Okay, Z. So this is an inverted. Okay, this is an inverted Z, and this is a non-inverted Z. Okay, the letter Z. Now, you see the angles that are formed at the corner of this letter. That is this angle and this. So these are formed, these angles will be called as alternate angles. Similarly, this angle, and this angle, these are these will be called as alternate angles. So to identify alternate angles, you try to form the letter Z, and the angles which will be at the corner or at the vertex, okay, at the corner, that will be the alternate angle. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now this alternate angle can be formed on, it can be this way as well. Can be this way. So if you see, this is also Z, but a tilted Z. So angles formed at the corner, angles are formed at the corner. This will be alternate angles. Clear? Okay.
Yes.
Now coming back to this figure, let's understand what is alternate interior and alternate exterior. Okay, before that, let's see where are the alternate angles. So let's, I'll just do it with the, I'll show it with the letter, with green color, I'll just draw the letter Z. I hope you can see it. Can you see? This is the forming the letter Z. So which are the angles at the corner?
Angle C and angle E.
Yes,
Let's
angle C and angle E. And if you see the other side of letter Z, just I'll do it with red color. So here, this one and this one is another pair of alternate angles, angle B and angle H. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, there is one more pair. Can you see one more alternate pair will be there? But somewhere more, there is a Z forming. Can you try to identify where? Okay, I'll erase this, then you may be able to identify. I'll erase this. See, if I tilt this figure, just for you to identify, I'm just tilting this figure, okay? Now, is it possible to identify? No?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which one?
Angle D and angle F and angle A and angle G.
I think this I can do it without tilting also. We can. 1 minute. Some mistake is there. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is the definition of alternate angles. So as I just said that angles which are formed at the corner points, okay, they are the alternate angles. But the actual definition of alternate angles is angles that are on opposite sides. Okay, opposite sides. That means if one is on the right side, other one will be on the left side. Opposite sides and opposite direction. The opposite sides and opposite direction. That means if one is going towards the right, other one will go towards the left. That way it is. So basically you just check the sides. They have to be in the opposite sides. This is the actual definition of alternate angle. And pair of angles that lie on the opposite sides. So keeping that in mind, you can get the other two pairs also. So with that, you should able to identify which are interior and exterior. So one thing I'll tell you about interior, that is angles that are formed between the two lines. Okay, angles that are formed between the two lines are called interior angles. Okay, so that means this angle that you have noticed, that you have written, that you have said, angle C and angle E and angle B and angle H. So this is C, this is E, and this is B, and this is H. These are between the two lines. Okay, so they are interior alternate angles. Now, if you see now if you notice carefully, angle D and angle F, these are also opposite sides, opposite direction. So that is also a pair of alternate angles. Okay, angle D and angle F. Similarly, angle A and angle G. Angle A and angle G, they are also opposite sides, opposite direction. So that is also a pair of alternate angle. But they are outside those two lines. Okay, they are outside the line L and M. That is why they are called as exterior alternate angle. Is this clear? Interior alternate angle and exterior alternate angle. Okay. Okay, these are some points to remember, but first, very important point which you should remember: when two lines intersect each other, when two lines intersect each other, the pair of opposite angles formed are congruent. That means opposite angles will be congruent. See, for example, this is one line and this is another line which is intersecting each other. So these are angles that are opposite each other. Is that correct? Yes. Now, these opposite angles are equal or congruent. Okay, opposite angles are always equal or congruent. These are also called as vertically opposite angles. Okay, VOA denotes vertically opposite angles. So angles that are vertically opposite to each other are always equal or congruent. First point, is it clear? Yes or no? I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you
Yes,
still.
sir.
Okay. Second one. Second is also very, very important. That says angle in linear pair. Firstly, do you remember what is linear pair?
Yes, sir.
What it is?
Angles. Angles. I don't remember the definition, but they have
What?
the same base and
Same base. Yes, correct.
line.
Lie on the straight lines. Straight line.
Yeah, on a straight.
On a straight line. So if this is a straight line, and if you put one line here, so this angle and this angle, firstly, as you said, they have the same base and they lie on the straight line. So they are supplementary. They are linear pair. Okay, these two angles will be called in the linear pair. And angles in linear pair are supplementary. Do you remember what is the meaning of supplementary? It is measurement, some measurement in degrees.
Uh,
I did not hear you.
so is it about? Is it like 180 degrees?
Yes, 180 degrees. Correct, 180 degrees. So supplementary means 180 degrees. So angles or in linear, but that means if you take this angle and if you take this angle and if you add them, you will get 180 degrees. Okay.
It's complementary angle.
Complementary is 90 degrees. 90 degrees. So if you take 45 and 45. So 45 plus 45 is 90. So if two angles are 90 degree and you add them, if two angles, if you add them and you get 90 degree, then those two angles will be called complementary. Even 30 and 60 is complementary. 30 degree, 60 degree. They are called complementary angles. Okay, this third and fourth points are easy. Third point says, when one pair of corresponding angles is congruent, then all the remaining pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, if one pair is congruent, then remaining all other pairs will be congruent. For that, I'll come back to this example. This one. So here, if you see, we wrote the pairs of corresponding angles. So they are saying that if one pair, so suppose if the first pair is congruent to each other, if the first pair is congruent, then these remaining other pairs also will be congruent to each other. Okay. So for that, the first one has to be congruent, or any one has to be congruent. Any one. If any one is congruent, rest all will be congruent to each other. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Same thing goes for alternate angle. Same thing goes for alternate angle. If any one pair of alternate angle is congruent, the remaining other pairs also will be congruent to each other. Fine. So for this also I can come back to this example. So alternate angles we wrote here. This one. These are interior. These below ones are interior alternate angles, and this one is exterior. So if any one is congruent to each other, any one pair, then all other pair of alternate angles will be congruent to each other. This also will be congruent, this also will be congruent, and this also will be congruent. Fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fifth point is also easy. This says when one pair of interior angle on one side of the transversal is supplementary, then the other pair of interior angle is also supplementary. So that means, so if you see in this, one pair of interior angle is angle C and angle H. These are one first pair of interior angle. They are saying that if this is supplementary, that means if you add them and if you get 180 degree, okay, then the other pair also will be supplementary. That means angle B plus angle E will also be 180 degree. Is this clear? So they say if one pair is
Yes.
supplementary, other pair is also supplementary. Next is a theorem. We'll not do the proof of the theorem. So we'll wait till your school, what they do. If your school does the proof, then you tell me. We'll study the proof also properly. But for now, we'll just see what the theorem is telling us. Okay, what is the result of the theorem? We'll just see that. So this theorem says that if let's understand the statement of this theorem first. If two parallel lines are intersected by a transversal, look at the figure. Two parallel line M and L are parallel to each other. If two parallel lines are intersected by the transversal, so here N is line L is the transversal. This theorem says if two parallel lines are intersected by a transversal, the interior angles on either side of the transversal, either means both, okay, that means we have the right side and the left side. So the interior angles on both the sides of the transversal are supplementary. Okay, that means this theorem says if two lines are parallel to each other and you have a transversal that is intersecting both the lines, then the interior angles that is formed are supplementary. First, can you tell me the two pairs of interior angle here?
One second, sir. Picture is blurred. Okay, so I can see it now.
Did you understand? But I explained the theorem. Did you understand that?
I have to find the interior angles.
No, that is fine. But the theorem I explained with the diagram, did you understand the statement?
The supplementary. The supplementary.
Yes.
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
The statement is fine.
So are you
No.
saying something?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Is this a hearing problem? Voice problem?
Yes, now I hear you.
Now you can hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
wait. I'll repeat whatever I said. I'll repeat. If you cannot hear me, just tell me, okay? This theorem says if two parallel lines are intersected by a transversal, look at the diagram. Line M and line L are parallel to each other, and N is a line which is intersecting both the parallel lines. So N is a line, L is a transversal. Up to here, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if two parallel lines, that is M and L, are intersected by a transversal, that is N, then the interior angles, okay, interior angles which is formed on either side, that means interior angle that is formed on both the sides, right and left, are supplementary. Okay, that means the interior angles will be supplementary. The pairs of interior angle will be supplementary. So first, can you tell me the pairs of interior angle in this?
Yes, sir. Angle AB and angle CD.
Okay. Now for these are the pair of interior angles. Now for these to be supplementary, what has to happen for them to be supplementary?
Both the angle measurement, when they are added, they should equal
180 degrees. So this theorem says if two parallel lines are intersected by the transversal, then the pair of interior angles are supplementary. That means this will happen. If the lines are parallel and there is a line intersecting the two parallel lines, then pair of interior angles is supplementary. That is angle A plus angle D will be 180 and angle C plus angle A plus angle B equal to 180 and angle C plus angle D also 180. So interior angles are supplementary. Theorem is fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1 minute. Huh? Second theorem is called as corresponding angle theorem. So I'll explain you what this theorem says. The first theorem we did, first theorem is saying first theorem says if two parallel lines are intersected by transversal, then interior angles are supplementary. Second theorem, what it says now, carefully understand this one. The corresponding angles formed by transversal of two parallel lines. That means same thing. Okay, the starting is the same. If a transversal is intersecting two parallel lines, then the corresponding angles are of equal measures. Okay, corresponding angles, all the pairs of corresponding angles are of equal measure. So in this, if you see, okay, I'll name this also D, E, F, G, and H. So because these two lines are parallel and you have a transversal, all the pairs of corresponding angles are congruent to each other. So if you see angle A and angle B are corresponding angles, so they will be congruent. If they are angle D and angle F are corresponding, so they are congruent. So like this, similarly, all the corresponding angles are congruent to each other. Is this fine? And note one thing that this we can say that their corresponding angles are congruent. We can say only because line L and M are parallel to each other. Okay, only because they are parallel. That is why we can say that corresponding angles are congruent. If there would be, if the line L and M, if it would not be parallel, then we could not say that they are corresponding angles are congruent. We will not be able to say them directly. But it is just because line L and M are parallel to each other, we can say that corresponding angles are congruent. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Same thing goes with alternate angles. That is called as the alternate angle theorem. So since the two line L and M are parallel to each other, all the pairs of alternate angles, so interior, exterior, whatever it is, all the pairs of alternate angles will be congruent to each other. That is this next theorem that is called as alternate angle theorem. Oh, sorry, I said parallel. They should be congruent to each other. All the pairs of alternate angles will be parallel, congruent to each other. Fine.
Did you say parallel or congruent?
Congruent. So I will make a note of all that. So first thing, and note these all, very first thing, vertically opposite angles are congruent. Okay, vertically opposite angles are congruent. Right. The first point is vertically opposite angles are congruent. Second point, if the two lines are parallel, if two lines are parallel, if two lines are parallel and you have a transversal, if two lines are parallel and you have a transversal intersecting the parallel lines, then under this, the subpoint all pairs of corresponding angles will be congruent. Okay, all pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. Second point, all pairs of alternate angles also will be congruent. All pairs of alternate angles are also congruent. And third point, interior angles are what? Can you tell me? Interior angles are? Unmute and say all pairs of interior angles are, what is the word? Supplementary. So all pairs of interior angles are supplementary. So first point, always vertically opposite angles are congruent. Second point, if two lines are parallel and you have a transversal intersecting the parallel lines, then under that first theorem, all pairs of corresponding angles are congruent, all pairs of alternate angles are congruent, and all pairs of interior angles are supplementary. So these points you have to keep in mind while we are solving the sum. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So I'll solve the first sum and show it to you from the text exercise. In the figure, this is the figure. RP is parallel to RMS. Now, this is a very, very important information that is given to us. RP is parallel to MS. If they would not be parallel, then we would not able to use the theorems. So this is very important information that is given, RP parallel to MS. And they have said that DK is the transversal. Okay, DK is the transversal. And angle DHP, that is this angle. Okay, DHP, this one is given 85 degree. And you have to find a measure of these following angles. So let's start with the first one. First one, we have to find measure angle RHD. That is this one we have to find out. How will we find out angle RHD? Can you think?
We'll subtract 85 from 180.
180. 180? Why 180?
Because it's a supplementary.
Yes, it is a linear pair. And the first point we studied, angles angle RHD and angle DHP are in linear pair. Okay, these two angles are in linear pair. And as we know, angles in linear pair are supplementary. Okay, as we know, angles in linear pair are supplementary. So that means angle RHD plus angle DHP is equal to what?
180 degree.
180 degree. Now substitute the value of angle DHP, that is 85. This we have to find out. RHD we have to find out. So write it as it is. Plus DHP is 85 degree. And this is 180. Now plus 85 went on the other side. It became minus. So you'll have RHD is equal to 180 degree minus 85 degree. How much is this?
95.
95, correct. So angle RHD is equal to 95 degree. Is this some first one clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll give you time to write, but see, second one is PHG. So wait, I'll just zoom in the diagram. So this is 95. This is 95 degree. Now they have asked PHG, that is this one.
Yeah.
How much will it be?
Congruent. That opposite
yes, vertically opposite angles. So this also will be 95. Okay, fine. Okay, I want you to write down this one, then we'll stop and remaining will continue in the next class. Just write down this sum first.
Also, should I finish this whole sum?
Whole sum for? What?
Should I finish the first one from myself?
Yourself. Okay. Yeah, fine. So we'll stop here then. Okay. So.
Sure.
Yes.
Also, sir, last Tuesday, sir, we didn't take a class, sir. So when are you going to take that class? Sir?
What you said last?
Last Tuesday, we didn't.
Tuesday. Yeah. So I will just decide a day. For actually, I wanted to take on yesterday, but let me see. I'll see. I'll tell you accordingly. Don't worry about that.
You will tell, okay.
Yeah, I'll take.
Okay. Bye, sir.
Okay. Bye. See you next week. No, sorry. Tomorrow.